kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Iowa Speedway, the Ricmotech Cup Series is ready to hit it hard in the Hawkeye State. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sim Racing Media. We're here in week number 9 with Bryce Senesac in control of the point standings and GT Hawkins in hot pursuit, just 55 points behind. We've had 4 winners over the past 8 races here in 2022, and now the question is, will we have a repeat winner for tonight, or will another driver capture the flag for the first time tonight? I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth alongside my favorite partner in crime, Mr. Tony Trapasso, and we'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag on Sim Racing Media. And Tony, yet again, it's always great to be with you here in the booth. A lot of big races tonight, or this week on iRacing, but tonight it all comes down to this here in week 9. And you know what? The Ricmotech Cup Series continues to impress us week after week as these 19, about to be 20 drivers always put on a great show.
They absolutely do, Dave. And, it's one of those series that, when this gig first became open, I know I personally jumped on it as soon as I found out that you were going to be available for it because, these races are just incredible. And, we're just past the halfway point of the season. We're starting the second half tonight at Iowa. There's still a ton to race for in the regular season, so this is going to get fun.
Oh my goodness, yes. And the thing is, as we look through the field, I mean, tonight here in practice, Michael Thwaites leads the way with time, but Rich Reimuller in the number 92 Spaceballs, the race car, is out here in third right now in practice. And I mean, practice times we don't always pay, in my opinion, we don't pay enough attention to, because what you're seeing is a lot of guys tuning these setups for the race. It's not about qualifying. It's not about running hot laps. The driver that you may see here in practice being fastest might not be fastest once we open qualifying and open that session. So, as we look through the points here, we'll take a look. Let's see if we can make that happen, Captain.
Allegedly, I sent you the points.
I got them, and right here they are. Bryce Enesak sets atop the pile, as I had mentioned a moment ago, with GT Hawkins just 55 points behind him. Now, each of those drivers has 2 wins apiece, and then we get into the singles. David Elliott and Jeremy Clifton, they each have 1 win apiece. But DJ Weeks has been out there being sneaky, time after time that we've seen, with Clifton Cockrell not far off. John Sterling last week put a great show on at Pocono. So I'm starting to get a little curious if we're going to have another winner this season for the first time tonight here at Iowa.
It's a safe bet, considering that there's some guys that, the shorter the track gets, the higher skill level that they have. And I think we're going to see guys like Mike Rominger, like Michael Thwaites, like Alonzo King, like Alan Hilton, really come into their own today. And don't ever count out David Clayman. That young man can really lay one down if he has to. And we're getting into his wheelhouse right now. It's not a cookie cutter track, but it's not a short track. It's kind of that in-between limbo area where you're either really good here or you're really bad here. And David's had some success here in the past.
Absolutely. And, as we look here at John Sterling, and I don't usually like to try to make any kind of calls early on in an evening, but I've got my eye on this number 3 GM Goodwrench Ford Mustang. You heard me correctly, the GM Goodwrench Ford Mustang.
I feel like I'm having a stroke every time I say that.
Yeah, every week it seems like we say it, and it rolls off the tongue after about 40 laps or so. And speaking of laps, we're going to have quite a length of a race tonight, as we're here in week number 9, 190 laps the scheduled distance tonight, as we're looking here. And Tony, one of the things that I'm always curious about is whether or not we get through those 190 laps with limited or almost no that thing that we must not say.
Yeah, that which shall not be named is what we're hoping to avoid here tonight. We all know what we're talking about. We all know who we're talking about. It's just we don't want to see it happen tonight, because this is one of those tracks that if we get a long green flag run like we're hoping for, it'll really jumble the field up, because there's really no place to hide on this just over 3/4 of a mile. Yeah. Help me out here.
Get it out, buddy. Get it out. Where are you going?
Tri-oval.
Tri-oval. Hey, but it kind of looks, we're going to take a look here from our blimp cam. And, this is one of those cameras that I'm always very proud of once we put it up here. You can almost see that this is like a letter D, that straight backstretch. I mean, it's definitely a tri-oval by definition. We can see that extreme short track that they, of course, use here on the front stretch. But this is definitely an interestingly shaped track, not very high banked, as we see several, in several other short tracks like Bristol, that of course the SNN Cup Series was at Sunday night, the Xfinity Series last week. This is definitely a lot more of a graceful track, if you will. We're still going to see some cars get upset coming out of turn 2. It almost always seems like turn 2 here at Iowa becomes an issue, as that's still kind of a violent transition.
It is, and this is one of the more tricky pit roads to get onto and off of, simply because there's a lot of dirt and debris on the apron here at both ends of the track, and you've got to kind of tiptoe coming out of 4 and wait till the last minute to get a straight shot on the pit road, because if you're braking, turning, and hitting that transition at the same time, you're in for a bad night.
Absolutely, and right now we've got qualifying underway here. Taking a look at Alex Carr in the number 26 Ford Mustang. He's out on his opening lap. He's kind of taking it easy here, The RPM's not cranked up all too crazy coming out of 3 and 4, but as he crosses the start-finish line, we're going to see him, of course, as he's the first one to complete a qualifying lap, shoot to the top of the leaderboard. Of course, we're about to see just about everybody else get underway. David Elliott in the middle of his qualifying effort here in the 42. Excuse me, sorry, almost couldn't get my tongue out of my way. In the Primetime Chevrolet. Every time I think primetime, baby, primetime, because here we are at 8:53 on a Tuesday night Eastern time. So if we were calling a football game, we'd be calling the biggest game of the week if this was a Monday night.
Oh, you mean like last night when the Bills just completely ate everybody's lunch?
They ate everybody's lunch and said, I'll be back tomorrow for more.
Right.
I was watching three things at once. Of course, as even as a suburban Philadelphian, I was checking out the Eagles game over on ABC and then discovered that we had a doubleheader there for Monday Night Football and got to see your Bills from up there in New York just shellacking the Tennessee Titans. And I popped into the Discord of Chris Claude from Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series fame, and I said to Chris, do you want me to tell you what's going on for your Tennessee Titans? And he said, no. I said, are you sure? Because you're going to watch 3 hours of a football game that's going to make you want to throw up.
Well, that was like, it's been New York's weekend as my Syracuse Orange also pulled one off against Purdue of all teams.
They did.
Yeah, I was like, holy cow, did that really just happen? And, of course, our good friend Greg McConey, who is a Boilermaker alum, I had to just poke the bear with a stick and then kind of twist it in his gut.
And a gut that he does have. I mean, listen, I heard him talking about it earlier in the day, and I thought, oh, this is going to get ugly. It's been to your point, it has been a big week in New York, and I know you don't let me talk about it very often, but the New York Mets also secured their playoff spot.
I was going to mention that earlier to our other partner in crime, Mr. Frank Marchese.
Yeah, I was ready to send him a message, and I thought, of course he knows. I mean, what he does in his day job, of course he has to know. So
it's his job to know.
Right, it's literally his job to know. Speaking of DJ Weeks that we had talked about a moment ago, we get to see him out here getting to qualify in the number 97 machine. Gets it wound up in the Autism Speaks Chevrolet Camaro. I like this paint scheme. I can't see what's on his hood, and I hate to use this camera angle, but maybe it's not even there. Oh, there it is. It is the Pro Air. My goodness. Pro Air Medical Supply Equipment. Ah, there we go. I'm always excited when I get to see people talking about autism. It hits my family. It hits, so many of our families. So to have someone out here, not necessarily speaking, but revving for the cause, it's always nice to see an Autism Speaks paint scheme out here. As DJ comes across the line, he shoots all the way to the outside of row number 1 for the time being, as just about everybody has gone out and qualified, as Wes Gant and GT Hawkins appear to be the last two drivers laying down their qualifying times. Clifton Cockrell, the only driver not to go out on the asphalt at this point. GT Hawkins, the Columbus, Ohio native, crosses the start-finish line, and he shoots right to the pole.
Not a big shocker there. This is one of those tracks that falls into GT's wheelhouse. Wes Gant jumps up to 10th quick as well. And as you mentioned, the only one we're still waiting on of the 20 haulers that are in the infield tonight, Clifton Cockrell, the only one to not try to lay a time yet. And, if we talk about why these guys are waiting, we are under the lights here. 69-degree ambient air temperature, 71-degree track temperature. And with the break in between qualifying and the race, this track is going to cool off a few more degrees as it's 6-mile-an-hour winds gusting to 10 out of the southwest. That means these guys are going to be getting a crosswind coming through 2 and coming through 4. So as soon as they clear those billboards on the exit of 2, they're dealing with a crosswind that's going to knock this car all over the place, kind of like a mad kid in a sandbox at times. So that's something they're going to really have to be up on the wheel on. They're going to have to be prepared to try to catch it. We've already seen guys, flirting with the Geico restart zone wall, because there's just it's sketch. It's very sketch here tonight.
Taking a look now at your track conditions, 69 degrees outdoor ambient temperature. If you're sitting here in the stands, you don't really need to sit with a blanket covering your lap. But the track temperature cooled all the way down to 71 degrees. So here in Newton, Iowa, I've got to say that that's definitely pretty comfy, especially for grip in this racetrack. Not going to be too slick as they roll around. And GT Hawkins now finally pulling it over, as everybody except for Clifton Cockrell has gone out and laid down a qualifying effort. 6-mile-an-hour wind, though. So that's going to be interesting.
Gusting to 10.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting with that gust on this 0.89-mile tri-oval. So going to be interesting here tonight, Tony. And as always, we're all set up, so let's step aside and let our good friends from Extreme Scoring and Ricmotech open the show.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
And welcome back to Newton, Iowa, where the Ricmotech Extreme Scoring Cup Series is ready to rock and roll here, as 19 drivers have laid down qualifying efforts. GT Hawkins sitting atop the pile. We're waiting for the last few things to be made final here in that qualifying effort, as Clifton Cockrell, the only driver not to have gone out and laid down a lap, currently trying to track him down. But right now, we'll quick take a chat here with the Primetime Sports driver of the night. Of course, your points leader. Oh, I just moved him way too far away. Stand by.
Oops. Welcome to live TV, folks.
We are building the airplane while we fly.
How many times have we done that before?
Almost every time. I lost him.
Pretty much. Hold on, I'll get him.
Hold on, he's down in the lobby. Bear with us, folks. I'm not smart. There he is, Bryce Senesac, here with us in the broadcast booth. Dave Regal and Tony Trapasso. You got us, brother.
Yeah.
Sorry about bouncing you around there. I was having a little bit of trouble getting you where you were supposed to go. But wanted to talk to you as the points leader. How do you feel tonight coming into Iowa? Are we going to notch off win number 3 tonight?
We'll see. Got a good qualifying lap in, and so I feel pretty comfortable just bringing laps in. So I guess we'll see how things fall and just go from there.
Absolutely. Here you're going to be sitting on the outside of row number 2. That sets you up to at least being on the outside. Are you thinking save the tires here? You've got 190 laps once the green flag flies. So what's your strategy going to be to get through this piece?
Just see how the start goes. Maybe we'll get this 97, maybe not. If not, then just try and settle in somewhere and just hopefully get a long run, and I think that might play into our favor.
Yeah, man, listen, I totally get it. It sounds like it's going to be an exciting race. Everybody getting ready to settle into their seats. So, listen, good luck out there, and we will see you on the other side, my man.
Thank you.
Well, Tony, sounds like he's nice and relaxed up there. Definitely not too many nerves bouncing around with Bryce Senesac. As always, he keeps himself so calm in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and you kind of have to. You've got 700 horsepower at your beck and call of your right foot on a track that the walls here, yeah, they might be safer barriers, but they're still unforgiving. So you really have to, have your poop in a group, as they say. As looks like they are starting to grid up, Dave.
They are right now waiting for GT Hawkins to get on the grid. At least that's who I was hoping to see out here on the grid, so we could start in order. Hey, GT. Waiting on you. Nope. Not so much.
We'll see enough of him tonight.
We are going to see a lot of him tonight. I was just hoping to be able to pull this up in order, but let's get that starting grid here on your screens, folks. GT Hawkins, your pole sitter tonight, sitting on the inside of row number 1 with Mike Rominger on his outside in the number 29 Chevrolet Camaro. DJ Weeks starting on the inside of row number 2 with Bryce Senesac, who you had just heard, our points leader, sitting on his outside on row number 2. Jeremy Clifton and John Sterling make up row number 3 with Brandon Shirley and Rich Reimuller in Spaceballs, the race car, in row number 4. Adam Capps and Wes Gant round out your starting top 10 here on row number 5. Tony?
Dustin Carroll and David Elliott going to make up row number 6. Row 7 sees Greg Carr and Michael Thwaites. Alex Carr in the 26 going to be joined in row number 8 with Mark Honeywagon Hanna. Jason Johnson and Alonzo King Jr. going to make up row number 9. Starting shotgun on the field, that is going to be Alan Hilton and Clifton Cockrell. Cockrell, the only one to not lay time in qualifying. 190 laps of scheduled distance here tonight. 75% fuel fill. 5 sets of tires to get the job done.
Yeah, I feel like even with 190 laps, that 5 sets of tires to change 6 total is still going to be, I'm going to say, close?
No, 5 total.
5 total? Okay, fine. So 4 changes? That's going to be close.
It's going to be very close. These guys are going to be begging for tires quicker than they're going to be begging for fuel in these rides tonight. But the light's going out on the official iRacing pace car. GT Hawkins in the Toyota going to have the button, Dave. And from what we saw last week and what we're going to see tonight, this is an awesome league to watch.
Without a doubt, we see the iRacing.com pace car coming out of turn 2, bringing this field around. And as we swirl here in our drone cam, we see that all of these drivers nice and organized here. You know, sometimes you see those last couple of drivers kind of look like a squiggly line in a kid's school project. But Tony, that pace car is entering the turn 3.
Absolutely. As the field works its way into the 3-4 complex, GT Hawkins has the button to get us going here at Iowa. The only thing is, it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn because it's time to get it on in the Hawkeye State. Race fans, it's show time.
The green flag waves and we are underway at Iowa Speedway. GT Hawkins leads the field into turn 1, taking the low side. This is definitely a 2-groove track, and that upper groove is going to take a while before it settles in there as cars tighten up on the long run. GT Hawkins still leads DJ Weeks here coming into 3 and 4. DJ side by side with Mike Rominger. Rominger finally gets single file behind him. Things starting to go single file with the exception of what looks to be back here with Rich Reimuller and the 85 of Brandon Shirley, who couldn't get into line, and just behind them, Wes Gant in the 11 car. We're just about 3 wide coming, wow, down the back stretch.
They were trying. That almost ended poorly. Gant able to keep his foot in it, though, as the 42 of David Elliott kind of backs out. But these guys are just getting after it early here tonight, Dave, as checking back just inside the top 15, that's David Elliott and Greg Carr going after each other.
Taking a look here at David Elliott and Greg Carr. Looks like Elliott here in the number 42 Primetime Chevrolet, holding his own with just behind him Alonzo King Jr. starting to creep around. Alonzo King, always one of those drivers that we start to see, you know, on our timing and scoring, that plus number, you know, where he is just, he may not qualify well, but he always finishes well in these races when he's got a car set up just like this, as he gets a run over top of the 42, bringing the 10 of Clifton Cockrell, who started shotgun on the field, now up 4, along with him into that 16th position. And now Cockrell working the high side of the 42 as we are now already on lap number 5.
Absolutely. Your biggest mover, though, right now is the 80 of Alonzo King, plus 5. Right in front of him, that's Mark Honeywagon Hanna in the 45 Toyota. He's plus 4, so there's a couple drivers plus 5, couple drivers plus 4. So positive motion going towards the back of this thing. Unfortunately, though, not so good for Greg Carr, Alex Carr, and Jason Johnson, as both those drivers are in the negative. All three of those drivers are in the negatives right now.
Yeah, and I'm starting to get curious what's going on with them as they fall further and further behind. They're now 5 seconds behind the leader off pace. Speaking of the leader, looks like GT has opened himself up now, a 3/4 of a second lead over DJ Weeks, who, of course, is looking for that first win of the season. DJ has 3/10 of a second over Mike Rominger in the number 29 Chevrolet. Pretty much everybody has about a 3/10 of a second distance, except for David Elliott, who's now side by side with the 8 of Alan Hilton. Hilton takes away 16th position from Elliott, and now Elliott's coming back for more as he tries to draft up to the rear of Michael Thwaites.
And right in front of him, that's the 10 of Cockrell going after the 11 of West Gant. Cockrell currently sitting +6, as is Alonzo King in the 80. So, it begs to ask the question, Dave, are these guys going too hard too early, and are they going to have any tire left if we get this long green flag run like we're hoping?
Well, here's the thing, and the way that I look at it is, do you want to cook them this early and run out of tire? It's not about running out of tire right now. It's about running out of tires at the end of this race. I mean, right now, keeping with, pace right now, GT Hawkins already down 3/10 of a second from where he had started on his best lap here. Last ran a 23.97 here atop the pile, and he's running all alone. He's out here just hitting his marks. I'm not saying he's trying to save tires, but 3/10 of a second in 10 laps. After 30 seconds, now you're looking at almost 3 seconds off. 30 laps, you're looking at 3 seconds off.
And that's being in clean air. That's one of the big things that drivers were talking about last week when we asked them, what they were looking forward to coming into here. And the clean air is going to be king tonight, which, checking back with Alonzo King Jr., he's putting the front of that car in clean air, so he's not getting that dreaded aero push, from anybody around him, and he's able to claw his way forward. It's the guys that are trying to treat this like a super speedway and be right in the slipstream. That's where it's going to come back to bite you.
Right. Now, and keep in mind, folks, that this is a fixed setup. So, of course, being fixed setup, everybody's chassis is exactly the same. There's nobody that might have anything twisted a certain way that may help them. As we look down the leaderboard, I can see that just about everybody is 3/10 of a second slower than their first or best lap, so to speak. So everybody's tires falling off about the same. So we're going to see as, some of these drivers move further and further in that plus direction on the racetrack, whether or not they're saving well. And to your point, Tony, looks like Alonzo King so far doing the best at that, as he is now +6, running in 12th position right now, chasing down Mark Hanna in the number 45 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra.
And it's going to boil down to, how much can you save? And you're using this first tire run as a learning tool. Okay, I went a little too hard. I need to back it out a couple tenths, not really try to go for best lap of the race, because this isn't Formula One. They don't give the bonus point for that. I just need to settle in. I need to turn consistent laps at this pace, because if I went over that, the car was completely undrivable before I could make it into the pit window.
You're totally right there. Jeremy Clifton, speaking of making progress, is now up 1 into the top 4 in the number 1 Maestro's Glory Pole Company Chevrolet Camaro. Mike Rominger ahead of him, but Bryce Senesac, your points leader in that 0IX. I guess that's 09. I'm going to go with 09, number 09.
It is. It is.
That's very confusing to me. Roman numerals only belong in the Super Bowl. I get very confused very easily. I'm easy.
Okay.
I'm easy to confuse. See, I'm thinking, the iRacing 23XI. I'm okay with that. But then I see IX, it becomes a whole thing. I'm just a mess. But regardless, Senesac now looking to get P4 back from him as they are side by side crossing the start-finish line. Looks like Senesac going to reclaim his P4 position and bring with him Rich Reimuller in the number 92 Spaceballs, the race car.
Yeah, Ricmotech and Clifton going after each other right now. Ricmotech definitely getting the advantage down the back chute here at Iowa Speedway. Clifton going to have to slot back in line, and look who won the pony. John Sterling right there as well, trying to claw his way back up after giving away a spot early. Not a whole lot of movement right now in your top 10. Biggest mover in the top 10 is going to be that 92 of Rich Ricmotech, the Spaceballs, the race car. He's currently sitting +3. The big movement is just outside the top 10. You got Alonzo King Jr. +7, Mark Hanna +4, and Alan Hilton back in 14th +5.
Now, in taking a look here at Rich Ricmotech, the Lynbrook, New York native, he is now +3, as you had mentioned, in that top 5. Here's a driver. I guess I'm trying to channel my inner Chris Collinsworth. Now, here's a guy who every week we see him, he is consistent, if anything, in this league. You know, I think that eventually we are going to see him in victory lane. We will be interviewing him first when we get to the end of a race. And, you know, tonight he proves yet again why we keep paying attention to him here at Iowa Speedway, because, you know, it takes a lot when you're in the company of GT Hawkins and Bryce Senesac to keep up with these drivers, even with a 0.4 second deficit.
Yeah, it's definitely not the easiest thing to do, but, you know, we've seen it time and time again that, you know, the cream rises to the top, and the guys that know how to keep their cars out of trouble are the ones that are going to do the best in, you know, the season. Speed wins races, consistency wins championships, and that's what some of these guys are working on right now, is just getting consistency. We got a battle for the lead hot and heavy right now.
We certainly do. GT Hawkins getting side by side with DJ Weeks, who, I got to be honest, DJ would be my my pick for tonight in that Autism Speaks Chevrolet Camaro. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right.
Chevrolet
Camaro.
See, here's the thing. Last night I did an Xfinity race, so of course we've got the Toyota Supra. A moment ago I called it a Supra, even though here it's a Camry. It's the one car that changes its model when they come, you know, between Xfinity and Cup. And here we are in Cup with the Toyota Camry of GT Hawkins, now being passed by DJ Weeks, as DJ here on the low side. They are side by side, and I'll tell you what, it might be early in this race, Tony, but I think the hammer and tongs are going to come out for these two.
Hammer and tongs, nothing. It's going to be pitchforks and axes.
You know, usually pitchforks and torches is my line. I mean, I guess we're going to steal each other's lines tonight? Okay.
Why not?
Okay. All right. You take...
And I didn't say torches. I said axes.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point.
Pitchforks and axe handles, brother.
Listen,
can't get arrested for either one.
I'm all for it. I mean,
did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
It's fine. You live in New York. It's a different world up there. Oh, a little bit of contact between the 14 and the 97. It actually slowed the 14 down and didn't even upset the 97. I just want to take one quick run back at that, as that's worth looking at. That could have ended very poorly, and we're going to zoom into this because I'll tell you what, folks. Oh, geez. There we are. Sorry about that blank screen there. I'll get that fixed momentarily. But you see just a little bit of contact here. These two drivers getting it back done, and that leaves DJ Weeks atop the pile. Tony, that I think you hit the nail on the head right there. That could have ended very poorly this early in the race.
It absolutely could have, especially with the amount of traffic that they would have been in. It would have wiped out our top 5 completely. As I'm taking a look right now at Bryce Senesac being the caboose in this little freight train that's starting to form up in the top 5. A 2 3/4 to the good over the ace of Jeremy Clifton, as Clifton's finally gotten around John Sterling, as does Brandon Shirley right there.
He does, and we see Shirley trying to work his way up ever so closer to Jeremy Clifton. It's almost like Clifton is slowly but surely backing his way up now to Shirley. So interesting to watch here as John Sterling down 2 positions from where he had started in the number 3 GM Goodwrench Ford Mustang. Every week with this guy.
Do you smell toast?
A little bit of toast.
Do you smell burnt toast?
A little? Why?
Every time I say that, I keep having that burnt toast smell in my nose.
Yeah, it's probably not healthy at all.
Yeah, no.
Especially for guys like you and I.
Oh, look, blood. I'm kidding, folks. I'm not having a heart attack on air.
He's fine.
But I can make those jokes, though, because I do have a heart condition.
It's fine. We're all together in this. I mean, look, if you can hang on long enough for me to get to Syracuse, you'll be fine.
Well, we'll just meet up for a beer in Miami.
That'll work. That will absolutely work. Listen, that is looming just a few weeks away. Speaking of looming, Michael Thwaites was just hanging out behind the three of John Sterling, and now gets that Space Force Chevrolet ahead of Sterling. It's almost like he decided to turn on the rocket boosters. See what I did there? To get around
Hit the warp
Sterling.
drive.
Ludicrous speed. Go! Right up here to Rich Reimuller. Look at that. I could do this one all night.
Oh, God.
I'm sober
So
tonight.
if you'd like to get a job here at Sim Racing Media, considering that Dave and I are both going to be fired after this race.
Yeah, there are seats available for the number 1 and number 3 people here at Sim Racing Media. I got to tell you. Oh, almost a little bit of contact between the 92 and the 14. Now it seems like maybe they're bumping each other out of the way. It's almost like Rich Reimuller is combing his way through the desert of these cars. Wouldn't you say, sir?
Man, never mind. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But I got to stop watching Mel Brooks movies. I'm sorry. I just watched another one the other day. It was History of the World Part 1 again, and it was, oh my God.
Will this be all one check or separate? Will anybody be having the soup? Jesus, yes?
Anyways,
You're gonna leave that one lay flat on the floor.
I'm gonna just leave that one dead on the autopsy table.
Well, listen, all things considered, in the spirit of Mr. Brooks, it looks like Rich Reimuller has turned this thing up to ludicrous speed to get around the 14 of GT Hawkins. Oh! GT Hawkins almost catches the left rear quarter panel of the 92, and now that once again allows the driver to get around Hawkins. That's twice that he's made contact almost in the similar spot, and it actually allows the driver ahead to get past.
Well, the other thing, too, is it's also opening the door for Bryce Senesac, as Senesac now looks into the inside of Hawkins, going into one. Hawkins with the preferred line in that second groove. You want to have your right side tires at the very lowest on the white dotted line in the corner. You don't really want to go any lower than that, because all you're going to do is just burn the right front off and then smoke the right rear as you're trying to lay the power back in. You want to let these cars float through the corners, and the guys that are able to do that is we got to battle for the lead hot and heavy. Lord Helmet to the lead.
He absolutely is. And right now it looks like Rich Reimuller has taken the lead away from DJ Weeks.
GT Hawkins into the wall.
Uh-oh. That can't be good.
He was into the wall in 3 and 4 and hemorrhaged a couple of spots.
He is wild with anger as he gets back here through the tri-oval into turns 1 and 2. Meanwhile, it looks like Dennis Weeks is ready to come out here to do battle with his Schwartz against the number 92 as the 92 dives into turn 3 and holds that lead with now 0.3 of a second over DJ Weeks, who's ready to do battle with Bryce Senesac.
Yogurt. I hate yogurt.
Even with strawberries.
Sorry, folks. These puns are going to be flying all season long. Bear with us.
Yeah, until, listen, fair warning, until Reimuller changes his paint scheme or is not in a position where we can talk about him a lot.
Right.
This is what you're going to get. So either start rooting against Reimuller or ask him to change his paint scheme to something even more fun, because we're going to have fun with this.
Oh, absolutely. But the other thing you need to consider, folks, is if you're watching the live stream right now, I see 14 people watching. I'm only seeing 1 thumbs up. The thumbs up, the more thumbs up a video gets, the more likely it is to be shared around the YouTube metaverse, if you will. When you log into your YouTube page, like, hey, you liked watching this, check out this race. It really helps the channel. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single moment of action here on Sim Racing Media, as this is the second race of the triple header here tonight. Third race of the quadruple header tonight. I forgot about that one. As the ARL Truckers Food America Cup Series is also here at Iowa on the other live broadcast right now. And at 10:05, we have round number 11 from the Western States Racing League as they go to Watkins Glen, and then doubleheader tomorrow night with the Ghost Xfinity Series round 10 from Dover. That is the 7:20 Eastern time on that one, and the Thunderclap Stock Car iRacing Series will bring the Xfinity car to Pocono for race number 2 of the round of 8 in their playoffs. So only 3 races left in that series, and it is hot and heavy as a slugfest right now.
Without a doubt. And speaking of a slugfest, looking right up here at Mike Rominger in the number 29 Chevrolet, chasing down DJ Weeks. I mean, listen, they were just under 0.2 of a second between the two. They were side by side, and it looks like Rominger's looking to make another run at him as they come into turn 2, and roll out to the backstretch. You know, sometimes when I'm sitting up here in the broadcast booth, it's easy to almost forget where you've been, or at least where the race is, as they come out of 4 here back to the start-finish line. Your race leader is Rich Reimuller in the number 92 Spaceballs, the race car Chevrolet. He is followed by your points leader, Bryce Senesac, in the 0909 Primetime Chevrolet Camaro. DJ Weeks about to be passed now by Mike Rominger here, but for the moment, there it is. Mike Rominger now running in 3rd position as he gets around DJ Weeks. DJ in the number 97 Autism Speaks Chevrolet Camaro. Brandon Shirley, the first blue oval and the first non-bow tie car here in the top 5, is just behind him. Toyota driver GT Hawkins, originally your pole sitter, running back here in 6th. Michael Thwaites in 7th. Mark Hanna in 8th. Jeremy Clifton in 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Wes Gant in the number 11 Valvoline Chevrolet. So Chevy heavy tonight, Tony, as it looks like just 3 Fords and 3 Toyotas in the field.
And if you take a look at the top 15, Brandon Shirley's Ford, GT Hawkins Toyota, and Mark Hanna's Toyota are the only 3 cars in the top 15 that aren't carrying that bow tie badge. And we got somebody coming pit side. Adam Capps bringing it pit side early.
Definitely coming down pit road very early as we're just on lap number 48 of 190. Tony, just as an aside here in the YouTube live chat, Monica Clayman, of course, the mother of David Clayman, usually out here on track tonight. It looks like David Clayman not able to drive tonight here on track as he is bringing Monica home from the hospital. So, Monica, our thoughts and prayers are with you. I know that sounds like a cliche, but I can speak for Tony and myself.
No, it absolutely, yeah, no,
that's not a cliche
we really,
with the two of us.
We really appreciate, we really appreciate the, yeah, huh? Oh, yeah. And Monica, they are looking for the email that you're supposed to be sending to the booth at simracingmedia.com to let them know what size shirt we need to send you after winning last week. And you know, I hope that some solace and it helps with your recovery. But wish that your boy was here on track tonight. But doing the right thing and taking care of Mom, can't fault him for that. Absolutely. We are always glad to have you with us, and just get well soon. As checking back here on track, the 3 of John Sterling trying to get one of his laps back the hard way, as he was one of the first to flinch and go down pit road. As '24 of Jason Johnson way off pace. And it looks like we're getting into that window, Dave, of green flag pit stops. As Dennis Weeks on pit road, Jason Johnson on pit road. Clifton Cockrell has already been down pit road, as has John Sterling. Adam Capps is still on pit road. Not sure exactly what happened with Capps there, but
yeah, not really sure what's going on with the 55. Dennis Weeks coming down for his pit service. We see him in the number 97. Looks like he's going to get 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast here, as he's going to sit there. That foot's got to be hovering just above that throttle before he hits the loud pedal. Jason Johnson rolling down pit road as he is now out of his pit stall just ahead of DJ Weeks. And That'll lead us back to Rich Reimuller, who has opened up a nearly 6/10 of a
Whoa.
second. Whoa, what is that down there?
That was
That's
the 42 of David Elliott. All sorts of sideways.
We're going to take a run back at that. That's for darn sure. Stand by, folks. Taking a look here at the 42 machine. And he just totally comes loose. Something had to have broken.
He had help. And there was a lot of net code involved in that, too.
You know what? We're going to have to switch to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
Usually the chopper cam will show us the best net code. Because if I hit the chase cam, Frank Marchese is going to have a stroke.
He's not the only one.
Yeah, there is a lot of non-contact between the 26 and the 42 as netcode took over there. But we'll get back underway here as the 42 trying to get back with the pace. He's definitely slower here as his last lap was nearly a second slower than everybody else on track.
Well, he was trying to recover from that oops. But looks like Alex and Greg Carr are both going to bring those vehicles pit side. Huh? Oh, okay.
Taking a look here in the YouTube.com live chat. Folks, you have to understand that, Tony and I, we are, although not biologically family, we are family in spirit here, united by iRacing and Sim Racing Media. And that goes for you guys, too, at home, you guys and gals that watch us every week. Because, we develop, some kind of a very weird long-distance relationship between us and you guys at home.
Do they call that Munchausen syndrome?
A little bit. It's more like, my television. Oh,
you see what I did there?
You're very funny. It's kind of like, we're television neighbors or we are YouTube neighbors. And it looks like Donna Kay had stopped in to talk to Monica here in the YouTube live chat. And we do want to let you know, Monica, that we'll be keeping an eye out for you, especially in November. And know that we've got your back here at Sim Racing Media and that we will be thinking of you. Seems like you're going to be having some surgery in November, but we'll make sure that you do get that T-shirt that you had won last week. And, Tony, it's one of those things where, as I had mentioned, we may not be biologically family. Reimuller is in the 92. But although that we're not biologically family, you are my brother from another mother, and I could not be more thankful for that.
Absolutely. You can't choose your blood relatives, but you can sure as hell choose your friends. And sometimes friends can get even closer than blood relatives. And that's kind of what I feel about a lot of, just about everybody that I've met in the iRacing servers is there's a connection there. We all have a love of racing. We all have, a love of motorsport in general. And it's that common bond that brings everybody together. And that's the beauty of iRacing because, Dave, you're down in Pennsylvania. Frank's over in California. Jason Sauford, who I do Sunday broadcast with, is over in England. There's a few guys from Sweden that are in some leagues that I consider friends. It's around the whole world. There are people, I've got friends in Australia. I've got friends in Ireland. I've got friends in England. I've got friends in France. I've got friends in Brazil just because of meeting them in iRacing. And I wholeheartedly call them friends. And that's the beauty of this.
Absolutely. So, Monica, just know that we may not be, physically close, but in spirit we are absolutely close and right there with you. And speaking of being right there, Bryce Senesac, Mike Rominger, Wes Gant, and looks like Dustin Carroll. Sorry. Yep, there it is. That leaves just 4 people out here on track. Never mind, 3 now as Michael Thwaites is coming down. So just about everybody having come down pit road with the exception of David Elliott in the 42 trying to get that lap back.
Alan Hilton currently running in fourth, sitting plus 15, but still has to come down. And you know these guys that are staying out are hoping to get that which shall not be named, so that they can catch and trap the rest of the field a lap down. As, oh my, Brandon Shirley just blew the entrance to pit road. He guessed wrong.
Yeah, and now he's got to sit there and get that thing pedaled around as we're going to watch his positions drop like a rock. Here is the 85 just completely missed. We're going to run that back and take a look. Oh, that's upsetting. That happened to me actually literally this afternoon. I was in a league race, and I'm not really able to work right now. I've had my back out, so I was sitting in the rig to try to. Oh, yeah, that's upsetting. That is upsetting.
42 just did the same thing. David Elliott just did the exact same thing that Shirley did.
Shirley, you must be joking.
It's serious, and don't call me Shirley.
We're taking a look at the 42. Stay with us for more 80s movie quotes as, oh, yeah, the 42 definitely missed.
Did the exact same thing that Shirley did. Is your effective race lead is the 97 of DJ Weeks.
Told you, that was my pick in pre-race. Here he is sitting atop the pile.
You picked your nose in pre-race. Who are you kidding?
No, I didn't pick my, well, I might have picked my nose. But, it was only to open up my sinuses so I could have this beautiful tenor voice coming through the microphone.
Oh, you didn't hear mine last night in that solo broadcast I did.
Solo broadcasts, folks, are usually the most difficult thing that we as broadcasters do on iRacing. Tony had one last night. I had one last night. And usually by the end, I am out of breath, and my voice starts to sound like Roz from Monsters, Inc.
Pretty much, yeah. That's why, I try to rest my voice during the day that I know I have solo broadcasts, so I can at least do the race open. And then all bets are off from about lap 10 on.
Yeah, absolutely. And, no matter how much throat coat tea you drink or how much honey you try to consume, sometimes there's just nothing there.
I got one for you, and I found it helps.
Go ahead.
Hot chocolate with honey in it.
You have my attention, sir.
I'm being serious when I tell you this. What you do is you make yourself a mug of hot chocolate and get one of the vanilla creamers. Pour that in, or vanilla extract if you have that, and then get one of the packs of honey that they have at like KFC and put that in there. Mix it up real well. It's the best thing for your throat. It got me over laryngitis just over a year ago.
Huh. That's interesting.
Actually,
I'll have to check that out.
2 years ago now.
I will have to check that out. Speaking of things with chocolate that don't seem natural, have you seen on TikTok yet? Are you on TikTok?
Not really, but
okay.
Most of the stuff that's on TikTok shows up on YouTube and YouTube Shorts and Facebook Reels.
Have you seen the Velveeta fudge?
Hard? No, I did see that, and I was gagging as she was making it.
I've seen about 3 different people make this stuff, and for some reason I'm so tempted because look at me, sir. I'm a walking ad for diabetes. And,
there's a guy out there, and I don't remember off the top of my head what his channel is called, but he does all these old recipes.
Yeah, I've seen him on TikTok.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about, right? He's like a British guy, but doesn't talk with a British accent. But he makes all these different recipes. There's some of the things that he's made, Dave, you need to look into, because I'm looking going, okay, when my next check comes in, I'm buying this, and this, and I'm going to try that.
There are a lot of things that the Brits make over there. Of course, they've been a little tied up for the last several days. But there are some things that the Brits make over there that I do want to try. Some of their foods that are different. Did you know?
Probably not.
Did you know that the British are the world's leading consumers of Heinz baked beans?
I did not know that. Heinz?
Yes.
I didn't even know Heinz made baked beans.
Heinz makes baked beans at a factory in England. They don't make them here in PA with the ketchup and the other tasty stuff that they make, but they make they make beans at a factory in England. I saw it on how it's made. It's fantastic. It's exciting.
Battle for the lead.
As Rich Reimuller and Dennis Weeks are side by side, we'll have to get back to the baked beans later as something's cooking with these two drivers. As finally the gap is closed up between the 92 and the 97. Looks like Reimuller is going to run away from DJ Weeks as he has 9-lap newer tires underneath that Chevrolet Camaro. Bryce Senesac trying to close in as well, but still nearly 6 seconds back. He's ready to do battle with Mike Rominger, as there's still some distance there. But so far, wow, that was a good camera angle. So far, looks like Rich Reimuller trying to drive away from DJ Weeks. Now, as I was saying, so the British actually eat more baked beans than anyone, and for some reason they have a plant over in England.
That's because they serve it for breakfast.
I would love beans for breakfast. You know, I've heard that they are a magical fruit, although that I thought that beans were a legume.
They are. And don't finish that thought.
Okay, all right. I've
because I was up in Canada and somebody asked me if I wanted to try an English breakfast. Sure. I didn't know what an English breakfast was, but it's a piece of couple pieces of toast, a fried egg, baked beans, a cup of coffee, and my personal favorite, Scrapple.
Oh, you know how I feel about Scrapple. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
With syrup on it.
It's everything but the oink.
Ketchup. Yes, it's fantastic.
Everything but the oink.
Folks, if by the way, Dagobah Dave is here saying baked beans is a common breakfast side dish over Yar, and apparently beans on toast is nice. So, you best believe I'm going into the pantry tonight, making sure that I have some beans, and I'll be getting that on some toast tomorrow morning because that sounds tasty.
Well, do me a favor, be an American and get Grandma Brown's.
Okay,
or,
all right.
Or Bush's.
I do love Bush's baked beans. I do. Anyway, so let's talk about Scrapple for a moment since you decided to bring it into the conversation, as we're taking a look now at Dennis Weeks with now, as he was just about side-by-side with Rich Reimuller, those 9-lap older tires showing their age, as he is now 4.6 seconds behind Reimuller, who is out here just hitting his marks and making it so number one. But so Scrapple, folks, if you're not from the Pennsylvania Dutch area here in southeastern Pennsylvania, central Pennsylvania,
Delaware.
Scrapple is made out of what's left over after they make hot dogs. So if you thought hot dogs had some weird ingredients, Scrapple is even better, and it gets cooked down in spices and cornmeal is added to it, and it's made into loaves, and then it's baked, and it's delicious. And now
think of it like poor man's haggis.
Basically. And I put syrup on mine. And folks, if you are a Scrapple eater, give us a shout in the live chat. Let us know if you are ketchup or syrup. Quite frankly, I believe ketchup to be horrific on Scrapple. It does not belong there.
Ketchup does not belong on a pork product.
Thank you, sir. Do you know, I saw on the Food Network years ago, here we go. We've been talking about food now for too many laps. But on the Food Network several years ago, did you know that it's considered to be impolite for anybody over the age of 10 to put ketchup on a hot dog?
Yeah, they used to give me flack about that when I was when I would go to a place here in Syracuse called Hyde's, and they call it NC-17.
Huh. Really?
Yeah. And this was back when before I was in a wheelchair. I was still in shape. You know, I looked like I could hurt people if I wanted to. And this lady starts giving me flack about putting ketchup on my hot dogs. And I looked at her, I said, "Did you pay for these?" "Well, no." I said, "Are you the one that's going to eat them?" "Well, no." "Then shut the hell up. This is my body, this is my flavor profile, and I want ketchup on my Hoffman hot dog."
Really? See, I never would have allowed that.
Never would have allowed what? Me to talk to an old lady that way?
No, to put ketchup on a hot dog. Now,
yeah, you don't have much choice, especially considering I'm deathly allergic to mustard.
I do put butter on a Pop-Tart.
It's so freaking good.
It is, and let me just...
We have lost all control. We'll be back right after this message from Bush's Baked Beans.
Allow extreme scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious eSports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
Welcome back to Newton, Iowa, here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Regal and Tony Trapasso in the broadcast booth with you. Rich Reimuller, your leader so far through 96 of 190 laps here at Iowa Speedway. Bryce Senesac, your extreme scoring.info and Ricmotech Cup Series points leader, running in second position right now. Mike Rominger in third, down one spot from where he had started. Michael Thwaites up 10 right now, your biggest mover of the night in his Space Force Chevrolet, running right now in fourth. GT Hawkins back rounding out the top five with Brandon Shirley, Dennis Weeks, Mark Hanna. Oh, look at Mark Hanna working the inside of Jeremy Clifton, Tony. It's been a busy night here on track now that we've gotten through that first round of green flag pit stops.
It absolutely has, Dave, and it really jumbled this field up quite a bit. You know, we've got little pockets starting to form of, you know, guys on old tires, guys on new tires. But we're at the point right now where the tires have pretty much equalized. We're about 30 laps into this current tire run, you know, and you can see right there Clifton and Hanna just going after each other as Hanna in the honey wagon tonight, just picking them up and laying them down. He's got a good, strong run going, sitting +8. But as you mentioned earlier, biggest mover, Michael Thwaites in the Space Force 12. Rich Reimuller's not that far off, being +7, leading this race.
No, and, you know, to be completely honest, I mean, since he got his new tires back on lap number 60, he really hasn't had a whole lot of fall off here. I mean, look, Reimuller's only down 0.07 of a second after almost 40 laps now on these tires. So Reimuller has definitely gotten the number of these tires and their wear here tonight, as he's now working just alongside of the 24 of Jason Johnson, down laps here early on in the race after some incidents which didn't bring out which didn't bring out that thing that we shall not speak of.
Too late. You can get your hate mail coming now, folks. That's Dave Regal, care of Sim Racing Media Towers, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, P.O. Box OU812.
Taking a look here in the YouTube.com live chat, Dagobah Dave has decided he wants to be friends with us and is now scratching every food itch that you and I have.
Oh, them's fighting words.
He has put ketchup on a hot dog, but I understand
yeah, but
that it does work.
The rest of that's fighting words. The only time pineapple belongs on a pizza is if it's Chicago, because that's not pizza to begin with. So I don't care what you do to a Chicago deep dish.
You know, I wanted to mention pizza to you in the first place. Number one, Tony and I have a near and dear pizza recipe to our hearts that's actually made by another sponsor from another league that they made in at our behest, actually more like at our annoying bothersome.
Begging. Yeah, we were begging them.
By the way, Tony, I did get to interact with those folks last Thursday night as Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking had a race sponsored, and of course a lot of guys from the Western States Racing League were in it. So I did get to talk about that Beltrami salami pizza. And listen, there's no pineapple on our Beltrami salami pizza.
If there is, somebody's going to get hurt.
I don't think Dean the Fog Crawler would be putting pineapple on pizza.
No, because he is a much better cook than that. That is pineapple and ham on pizza. Okay, ham I can go with, because I do love me a meat lover's pizza. But pineapple is a hard no. Pineapple belongs nowhere near an Italian staple. Although, Dave, if you do ever make it up here to the greater central New York area, we need to go to Utica and get you a tomato pie.
Oh, I love a good tomato pie.
And for those of you wondering what a tomato pie is, instead of making the pizza round, you put it in like on a cookie tray, and you make it square. So it's and what you do is you put the pizza sauce on there, and instead of putting mozzarella on it, you take Parmesan and spread that all over the pizza. That's the only cheese that's on there is just Parmesan. Maybe a little Grana Padano if you're feeling frisky, but it's a Utica thing up here in central New York, as are Half Moon cookies.
Oh, I do like a good Half Moon cookie. You mean a black and white? See,
Well,
down here we would call that the black and white.
Well, yeah, but down there you also have whoopie pies, so it color me envious.
I love a good whoopie pie. Let me just tell you, on a Friday, you know what?
You're bringing those to Florida with you, right?
Can I get those in the suitcase?
I would hope you should.
I'm going to try. That's fine. So listen, the story, if I'm sitting at a TSA holding cell of, so what did you try to bring on the plane? A whoopie pie, and then I get to explain it.
Right. It's all about the views, bud.
I'm sitting there with 6 guys that tried to smuggle cocaine over the border, but I got pulled over for a whoopie pie.
Oh yeah.
Nobody should be trying to get cocaine on an airplane. We're not condoning that at all here at Sim Racing Media. But whoopie pies, you get them where you can. Oh my goodness, I can bring tasty cakes.
No, I'm not a big fan of tasty cakes.
Really? I'm surprised. Tony,
I'm more an Entenmann's guy.
On the end of your grocery aisle. Tony and I have obviously gone down a food path tonight, as does happen, as you do, when here we are at Iowa Speedway with Rich Reimuller leading the way. I've always wanted to go to the Iowa State Fair.
Oh, and try the deep fried butter?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Deep fried butter, deep fried Twinkies. I've tried the Twinkie before. It's not horrid. If you like Twinkies to begin with, it's not horrid, but it just not my thing. Deep fried Oreos, though. Here's an even better one for you, Dave. And you're gonna hate me when I tell you this. Next time you're at the grocery store, in the dairy aisle, they normally sell tubs of Toll House cookie mix, where you just scoop it and put it on the tray and bake it. Get a tub of that and a packet of Oreo double stuffs. Coat the Oreo in the Toll House chocolate chip cookie mix, and then bake it.
Excuse you?
Uh-huh.
All right.
And then bake it.
I guess I have a weekend project now. It's my little girl's birthday on Sunday, so maybe that'll be a thing. I'm really concentrating on making sure that they eat healthy.
Well, there's wheat and flour and
Right.
eggs, and it's, you know.
And I grew up with the food pyramid, which said that you're supposed to have a lot of wheat and flour.
Right.
So that makes sense. So
And
folks,
there's milk in it, too.
oh, well, then there's your dairy.
You got eggs, milk, wheat. There you go. You know, whole grains in the flour. So why
Tony,
not?
One thing that I do have to kind of bring up here. We're sitting in Newton, Iowa, here for the Ricmotech ExtremeScoring.info Cup Series. Rich Reimuller, your race leader, with Bryce Senesac running, I would say, a close second, but I mean that's pretty close compared to the rest of the field right
getting
now.
Closer.
He's getting closer-ish. He's
There's
at least
only
in the
about-
same frame.
Yeah, there's only about 5 car lengths separating the two of them.
Mike Rominger has gotten himself back up to third position now, as Michael Thwaites is your biggest mover of the night in that Space Force number 12 Chevrolet Camaro. And he is followed by GT Hawkins, just about a second and a half behind him. And you might ask yourself, folks, where is Newton, Iowa? And to put it in better perspective, it is the middle of nowhere. You know, I'll tell you what, the closest thing for me, if I ever get to go to Newton, Iowa, to go to Iowa Speedway, I'm going to take about a 2-hour and 14-minute drive north, according to Google Maps. And I'm going to be going to Mason City, Iowa. Now, Mason City, Iowa is the town that the fictional town of River City, Iowa, from The Music Man, was based upon.
Right.
Of course, Mason City, the home of Meredith Willson, who was, of course, the writer of The Music Man. Great Broadway show, fabulous show. Robert Preston, one of my favorite, Professor Harold Hills.
Learn something new about my broadcast partner every day, folks.
I love musicals. I do. Can you imagine? You probably can't.
Never would have pictured it.
Ah, well, I am, let me tell you. Lighter on my feet than a feather in a breeze as I dance around stage. But regardless,
Battle for fifth, hot and heavy right now with the 85 of Brandon Shirley getting around GT Hawkins with a good head of steam. That's where we're going.
Brandon Shirley trying to hold off GT Hawkins right now in the 85 Ford Mustang, as GT in that number 14 Toyota Camry trying to bring it around through the tri-oval. He kind of lost a little bit of ground coming through the tri-oval, Tony. Not really sure if he made a mistake or if that. Oh, and he bites
No,
the wall.
that's Arrow. That was Arrow Snap.
It's Aerosmith. They're a band. Going to take a look at it here from our drone cam as we bring it back onto your screen. That 14, that red and white machine, as he rolls out of the turn, you can see that breeze that Tony's talking about here as it just snaps him loose, and it took him by surprise for sure. And I don't see too much of a stripe down the side of the 14 as he gets ready to get back underway here and start to try to claw his way back forward.
Well, you know, surprisingly, Dave, since they did the update to the damage model, I've not seen anybody really put that damage model to the test where it's supposed to fatigue different parts, especially on the suspensions of these cars. I haven't seen anybody really put that to the test.
Well, not here in this league. And, you know, something that we talk about week in and week out is we're on lap 122 of 190. You know, these drivers here, for lack of a better term, they're sane. They aren't out here trying to beat the bejesus out of one another, and they don't think that these are 6,000-pound weapons. Of course, as I say that, the 3-car makes it 3 wide coming out of turn 4. Of course, the 3-car already down 2 laps, and I guess he decided he's trying to get one back the old-fashioned way for reasons I can't quite confirm. But
Sure, why not?
These drivers, for the most part, are sane. We don't see anybody getting too crazy too early. I mean, you know, we're still just under 70 laps to go, and nobody's really pushing that hard.
Not really, but Bryce Senesac has gotten around Rich Reimuller's GT Hawkins bringing it pit side for his next stop. Working lap 124 of 190 here tonight at Iowa. You know, and Dave, if you do go to Iowa, if you do go to Iowa, there's another place you need to go, and that's Knoxville, home of the Sprint Car Hall of Fame.
You know what's terrible?
You know, you're right there with the Pennsylvania posse.
You know what's terrible about the Knoxville dirt track? You and I were calling a race for the Western States Racing League last year. We were halfway through before I realized it wasn't Knoxville, Tennessee. I drank a lot. Yeah, I drank a lot. I had never been to Knoxville before on iRacing or in real life, and when I saw Knoxville, I automatically assumed Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah,
Little did I know that we were nowhere near it.
Not even close.
I drink a lot.
You know, I would call you an alcoholic, but AA is for quitters. As Bryce Senesac's bringing it pit side. Reimuller's already in his pit box.
Rominger's getting ready to come down as well.
So here we go. Wholesale pit stop. Brandon Shirley going to keep it out there.
I believe he's looking for that bonus point to lead a lap here, which makes sense, especially at this stage in the race. You know that you may not win, but at least you can get that bonus point for leading the race, at least for a lap. Looks like Bryce Senesac is in. He's going to get 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast, as well as Michael Thwaites and Mike Rominger. And Alan Hilton here in the 8, now rolling out in the Maestro Chevrolet.
Huh? Oh.
The joys of living in an apartment building. It sounds like the neighbors upstairs have a pet elephant they're taking out for a walk.
Yeah, the lady across the hall from me has a 5-year-old that likes to run up and down the halls.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I like to run up and down the halls, too. But mostly to get food from the lobby and then bring it back.
There you go. You know, that brings up a good point, you know, because you remember when we were kids, Dave, and your parents said, don't ever get into a car with a stranger. And then it became, don't ever try to meet somebody you met on the internet. Now we have apps on our phones that not only can you meet someone from the internet, you can have them pick you up.
And get into a complete stranger's car.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The irony is not lost on me at all, my friend. I mean, my mom, and I love my mom to death. She's a wonderful woman. She puts up with my crazy self. But, you know, that's the one thing that she has yet to cross the bridge on. She's never tried an Uber, and I don't think she knows how to use DoorDash.
Well, there you go. I had to explain Instacart to my mom.
Oh, that's
when I first moved into this apartment, I was able to use Instacart. My mom goes, well, how are you getting them? Instacart. What the hell's Instacart? I pay someone to shop for me.
I like the little texts that you get when they get to a shelf and they're like, I can't find this, I'm going to get that.
Like, how is that even related to what I asked for? Like, I asked for plums one time, and they brought me red onions.
They looked close to the same. They were a little dark.
Not even close.
Just big, funny-smelling plums.
If you got a plum that's the size of a red onion, and I mean these were like baseball-sized onions.
I mean, that brings up a good point. It's probably why I'm not an Instacart shopper, because I would be the one to be out there going, oh, well, they don't have any plums. I'm going to bring you prunes.
I could have accepted that.
That's fair. That is fair. You know who I miss? I miss those Sunsweet prune guys with the little band. My grandmother had the whole little set there playing their musical instruments on top of a refrigerator for most of my life.
You mean the raisins?
No, they were plums or prunes, I thought.
No, they were the California raisins.
I thought they were from Sunsweet. Oh, Sunsweet raisins. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, because I actually got asked to leave school one day because I had a T-shirt that said "Raisin Hell at the Beach," and it was the raisins in a dune buggy, and because it said "Hell" on it, I had to get sent home.
That's fair. Dustin Carroll, the last driver to come in on this green flag cycle. Actually, well, not necessarily. Now David Elliott. would be last to come in on the green flag cycle. Rich Reimuller cycles back to the lead. He's followed by Bryce Senesac, DJ Weeks, GT Hawkins, and Jeremy Clifton here as we are on lap number 135 of 190. This race, Tony, has just absolutely melted before our eyes tonight.
It has, and you take a look right now. Mark Hanna, the first car one or more laps down. Sorry, Mike Rominger, the first car one or more laps down, sitting back there in ninth. At least it's with 8 cars on the lead lap. Brandon Shirley able to wrestle that spot away as he moves around the inside of the 3 of Sterling. So that was for position. And we're going to step away and pay a couple bills. And no, we're not.
No, we're not. We are under caution. Sorry,
Something
folks.
just happened to Dustin Carroll.
Let's take a look. Dustin Carroll, all kinds of sideways back here. I'm betting he got bit by the cold tire fairy.
That is exactly what happened. Wait till he gets to the commitment cone and watch the rear tires. That's like a John Force funny car style burnout right there. What? No.
Oh, and that brings it right around for the 90. Well, that's something that happens pretty often. We're going to take a look here at Rich Reimuller as timing and scoring saying something going on with him. Perhaps he was just checking up for the pace car.
That's exactly what he was doing.
And that's got to be exactly what it is, as he's going to blow the doors right off the pace car. Of course, now that changes things for these drivers that were laps down. This is the first caution of the night, folks. Hard to believe, Tony, if you think about it, as Brandon Shirley now getting to come down for pit road. Looks like Senesac also coming down, just about everybody all over again. Maybe a quick little dip for fuel? Nope, it looks like the 92's getting fresh tires.
Well, here's the thing. We're in the you can make it from here range. And, why not come down under caution, get your final set of tires, top the tank off, and just let it eat from here.
I got to say, that's probably not a bad strategy at this point in the race. And speaking of this point in the race, we are going to step aside and pay some bills now, going side by side as we are under caution. Actually, we are not going to go side by side as we are under caution here at Iowa Speedway.
Allow extreme scoring to do the work for you. The search is over. The most comprehensive oval scoring solution is here. Featuring oval playoffs, adjust drivers per round, custom number of rounds, custom playoff points, provisionals, optional win and you're in, custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today. Allow extreme scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious eSports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Welcome back to Newton, Iowa, where things have gotten shaken up finally as we've had our first caution of the night that's actually going to send the number 90 car of Dustin Carroll to the rear end of the field as he is going to get credit for that self-spin. Meanwhile, the iRacing.com pace car drops down pit road. The green flag is in the air, and we are back underway green flag racing here in the Ricmotech Extreme Scoring Cup Series. Brandon Shirley, your new race leader tonight in the 85, gets that blue oval finally cranked up past Rich Reimuller. As we had mentioned earlier, there are just 3 Fords in the field tonight, and to boot, there are only 4 Toyota Camrys in the field. Everybody else has the bow ties out here. So things definitely getting dicey here as the field is now reset, and that will bring everybody much closer together.
It absolutely will. That is an angry pack of Hornets behind Reimuller right now. As you got Weeks, Senesac, Hawkins, and Thwaites all right there trying to get that final step of the podium. Now, you're within right now. You can make it from here distance from when everybody was last down pit road, as we are currently working lap 143 of 190. And we know they can get about 50 to 60 laps out of a tank of Go Fast. So we could have just witnessed the money stop under that last caution.
Without a doubt, and just as we see that, we see side by side the battle for the lead, or the battle for 4th place, between GT Hawkins and Bryce Senesac. They're duking it out in the point standings, and now they're duking it out on the track as GT Hawkins gets alongside the 97 Autism Speak Chevrolet, driven by DJ Weeks, who was my pre-race pick for winner tonight, as he is chasing down Rich Reimuller in the number 92 Chevrolet now, who's running in P2, as the 97 and the 14 are side by side, Tony.
They are at that, and this is something that we've come to expect out of these two. 2 very similar driving styles, 2 very similar setup choices, and Bryce Senesac right now was watching this little battle behind him, going, guys, give me a hole, just give me an opening. Because Senesac looks like he might be getting held up just a little bit by that battle in front of him, as we've got hard and heavy for the lead, as Rich Reimuller all over the back bumper of Brandon Shirley right now down the backstretch.
With that, he is, and now it looks like Reimuller looking to the inside of the 85. Shirley trying to hold the high side. They're basically, Shirley, the only thing that makes him maybe a little bit at a disadvantage is he chose not to come down pit road this time around. He's already got a bonus point for leading a lap earlier in this race, and now Reimuller looking to reclaim that lead with 7-lap newer tires on Spaceballs, the Camaro.
Definitely trying to make something happen right now, but that battling between those two has allowed the rest of that group to catch back up to him, as Senesac and Thwaites just going after each other. Sorry, Weeks and Thwaites.
Well, Thwaites is getting ready to dance in here right now as we take a look at the points leader, Bryce Senesac from Fort Wayne, Indiana, in the 0909 primetime machine, as he is still trying to get on the inside of the 97 of DJ Weeks. DJ, of course, down a spot from where he had qualified earlier in this race, chasing down GT Hawkins in the Glory Pole Company 14 Toyota Camry. But right now, the one to watch is going to be Rich Reimuller and Brandon Shirley, as I'm surely going to see another lead change here before the end of this piece.
Definitely not wrong on that one, especially with the pace that Shirley's setting. You kind of got to wonder, is he going too hard too soon? As, these guys are still going after it. I mean, this is the type of racing that we've come to expect out of the Ricmotech Cup Series. These guys know how to pick them up and lay them down, and they no quarter asked for, no quarter given, and nothing done out of malice.
Well, see, and here's the thing. The 92 gets a run on the 85 gets a run on the 92 on the entrance to 3, but then as they roll through the center of 3 and 4, the 92 picks up that distance all over again. So basically they're evenly matched as far as who's getting the run and when. It's a matter now of who makes a mistake and when. and opens the door. Maybe the 85 now slides high and allows the 92 to get side by side here for the lead. It looks like the 92 Spaceballs, the Camaro, has gone ludicrous speed to get around the 85 of Brandon Shirley.
He did at that, and that's going to open the door for GT Hawkins to get there as well, as Shirley hung out to dry on the top side. Hawkins back up into a top 3 position, wants another one. Started on the pole, wants to win. Right behind him, though, it's Dennis Weeks and Bryce Senesac just beating on each other right now.
Well, right now, at this point, GT Hawkins has to be looking around thinking, obviously, Rich Reimuller has hyperjets on that thing, and what has he got on that? A Cuisinart. You can see these front 3 cars, the 92, the 14, and the 85, all separated pretty evenly here with no more than 3/10 between each of them. But the real battle is going on right now between the 97 of DJ Weeks and the 12 of Michael Thwaites, as Thwaites, maybe gets a little rub on the 97. And like we've seen all night, it almost doesn't affect the offended car as they go over top of the tunnel and come out of turn 2 to the backstretch.
It doesn't affect the car that's getting hit as much as it does the car doing the hitting. And I think a lot of that has to do with the aero package that's on this car, because these bodies being carbon fiber like they are now, they can give and spring back, but the car that's doing the hitting is going to feel it more than the car being hit in most situations. Jeepers.
Jeepers is right, my friend, as we even see Jeremy Clifton getting in on the dance now with DJ Weeks here coming through the tri-oval and into turn number 1. He gets on the low side of DJ, and Weeks manages to just slide back there and out of the way, and they go single file now on the backstretch. Another close battle happening right now is between John Sterling and Wes Gant here in the 11 car, as the 11 still back here trying to get himself sucked up, as Rich Reimuller going for the lead yet again around GT Hawkins as they chase each other into turn 3.
Hawkins with the momentum on the top side, able to wrestle it away from Reimuller. And Reimuller's been going hard since the drop of the green here. We are going to be 41 laps to go, or we are 41 laps to go here tonight from Iowa. Or 31, sorry. I can math, I promise, folks.
Yeah, carry the 1, my friend.
I don't want to carry the 1. It's heavy.
It's not as heavy as carrying the 2.
True story. And do you know why 7 is the most feared number?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
It's 7, 8, 9. Yeah.
Oh, you went there.
I did.
Well, folks, if you like hanging out with Tony and I tonight, on a Tuesday night, you can always check out Tony in the Thunderclap series on a Wednesday night. Of course, I usually do a little bumping around on Thursdays. You can come hang out with me on a Monday night over on the Independence Racing Network for Monday Night NASCAR's Xfinity Series. And if you really like hanging out with Tony some more, you also cover ISNF on Sundays. You're like the busiest man in sim racing media.
Well, I do. Let's start on Sundays. I do ISNF on Sunday afternoons, CleanRacing.net on Mondays, Ricmotech on Tuesdays, Thunderclap on Wednesdays, the Svenska iRacing Ligan, both their Cup Series and GT3 Series on Thursday, iRacing East on Friday. The only day I kind of have off is Saturday.
Well, Saturday should be a day of rest, my friend, as you decide to take the Sabbath as a break.
And yeah, no, we're not going there.
Why? It's a day of rest. I don't work on a Saturday. I try.
The battle for fourth, still hot and heavy. Thwaites down on the low side, looking to bring Jeremy Clifton with him. Brandon Shirley hanging tough on the top shelf, though, as we were picking him up, laying him down.
The 1 was just all over the rear of the 12, and now he's trying to push the 85 around. It's almost like Jeremy Clifton trying to get through these two cars as they are now 3 wide going down the backstretch. My goodness. And that opens the door for the one to keep it 3 wide going into turn 3 as he backs out.
Well, he caught the apron and had to back out because that back end was starting to step around on him. But those guys battling like they are, that's opened the door back up for the 29 of Rominger and the 97 of DJ Weeks. You know, these guys are letting those group in front of them get away as it's 2.5 seconds.
The one just hit the wall.
Yes, he did. And he's still in the wall. He broke... Oh. No.
Of course, that obviously breaks something here, and you can almost see that tire towed out there on the side.
And as he comes down pit road, you can see that both right side suspension arms completely shattered on that car. He drove. I guess he did tow.
It's saying that he towed, so we're going to see what happened here. Folks, this is more like an iRacing formality. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I just saw too.
Yep. And he couldn't get it much further, so he wound up missing that pit stop. It was probably just as easy.
Meanwhile, at the front of this thing, GT Hawkins, Rich Reimüller, and Bryce Senesac running stem to stern right now, 2.5 seconds to the good over 4th place Brandon Shirley, who's got a little bit of a gap opened up now over Michael Thwaites, as Thwaites is dealing with Rominger and Weeks as that battle continues to rage on.
Yeah, they didn't let the one car getting himself all sideways bother them one bit, as it looks like they're even ready to bring in Rominger to this battle. The 97 and the 12 do. They are still side by side going into turn 1 at this point. Mike Rominger's got to be kind of pleased with what he sees in his rearview mirror, as, you know, with Thwaites and Weeks going at it like that, that allows him to run away and put some distance between him and those 2 other Chevrolets.
It absolutely does. And, you know, speaking of 2 Chevrolets, Rich Reimüller and Bryce Senesac in their Chevys trying to get by the lone Toyota in the top 10 right now that belongs to GT Hawkins, who just so happens to be leading this race as he started on pole and has clawed his way back up there. 18 laps to go this time across the stripe. Hawkins, Reimüller, Senesac, Shirley, Rominger, Weeks, Thwaites, King, Gant, and Sterling, your top 10. And the only other 2 cars on the lead lap, Mark Honeywagon Hanna and Alan Hilton.
This battle hot and heavy for the lead is the 92 of Rich Reimüller, now looking to the inside of the 14. It's almost like wherever the 92 and the 09 go, the 14 is able to keep them at bay. As we are 17 to go here at Iowa Speedway, you are watching Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso here in the broadcast booth. We're bringing you live action from the Ricmotech ExtremeScoring.info Cup Series here, as this race so far tonight, out of 190 laps, these last 10 have been incredibly exciting here tonight.
They absolutely have, and you're kind of hoping right now that your team was able to pack your fuel tank as full as they could get it the last time these guys were down pit road. As here comes Reimüller to the inside of Hawkins, leaning on each other through 1 and 2. Reimüller a little bit sideways. It's going to open the door. Eesh! Senesac almost getting into Hawkins.
Yeah, there was obviously some turbulence that had occurred coming off that rear diffuser from the 92 that had Senesac a little wobbly coming into 3. Now he goes side by side, Senesac does, with Hawkins as they go into 1 and 2. That allows Reimüller to take a run away from them, as these 3 cars have all been down pit road on 137, as we are now on lap 176. So it's almost 40 laps on these tires, and it doesn't look like there's any give up left, at least so far tonight. Nobody willing to be put to bed early.
You are correct, Dave, and we're looking at almost 2 seconds worth of tire fall off between their fast lap and their last lap for these guys. And, your top three are the only ones that are, sorry?
14 rubbing the wall right here as they go into 3 and 4. He comes back down to the high side of the 09, Tony.
Bangs the wall coming off of 4 as well.
Obviously, side by side, not the 14's friends tonight. That allows Senesac to get up here into P2, but I'm not saying it's too little too late, especially in these next-gen cars, but he's got 0.8 of a second to get to Rich Reimuller with just 13 laps to go.
He's going to really have to lay down some laps here, but with what they're doing, now they were almost dead even that time, 25-3 for both Reimuller Senesac. Hawkins 25.66, but those are the only two guys the last time by that went sub 25.4. So, Reimuller and Senesac still have something left in the tank as we are fast approaching 10 to go.
The question becomes, how much do they have in the tank? And speaking of stuff in the tank, up 7 positions is Michael Thwaites in the number 12 Space Force Chevrolet. He's obviously got rocket fuel in that machine, as he is followed by Alonzo King Jr., who is up 10 spots. He started 18th position tonight, just a few from last in the field. So a tip of the cap to Alonzo King, who is our biggest positive mover tonight. And you know what? This guy has driven this car as deep as he can. I said it earlier in the night. He's one of those drivers that even if he doesn't qualify well, we do see him up in that top 10, top 5 toward the end of the race.
Well, he's a driver that I can say, reminds me of myself. Might not be the fastest horse in the barn, can't really blister one in qualifying, but when it comes time to race and save your equipment and make sure you're around at the end, he's one of the best at figuring out what he's got to do to get that car to the finish line.
Yeah, the McCurdy'sville, West Virginia native, always here at the end, and the Dark Tempest Motorsports Chevrolet, a popular paint scheme. I do like this paint scheme. It's not like a high gloss, but it's kind of like an aluminum foil looking finish on the car, and it just looks sharp rolling through the turns.
Yeah, it does. Whoever did the paint on that really took their time with the bump mapping to get the mix of the shine and the matte finish on there. Nicely done. Meanwhile, at the front of this piece, Rich Reimuller starting to pull away from Bryce Senesac.
Yeah, he has himself now a 0.6 of a second lead over Senesac with 7 to go here at Iowa. Looks like Senesac trying to figure out how to get drafted up there. Of course, the problem becomes if he allows GT Hawkins to draft up to his rear. Hawkins, at this stage in the race, is trying to get on that second step of the podium, so they wind up battling it out. And then by that point, Reimuller's now extended that 0.6 to now 0.8 at that point. So does Senesac just try to hold close and stay on the podium and be conservative, or are we going to see him suddenly try to throw the jets on and go for the win?
Well, I mean, he wouldn't call himself a racer if he wasn't going to try to go for the win, but he's also got to be realistic. He knows he just has to turn consistent laps, and he's got a podium spot. We do have a battle going on just inside the top 10 as Wes Gant and Mark Hanna going after each other right now as well. And that's actually your closest battle on track.
Yeah, just 0.2 of a second separate these drivers as Wes Gant in the number 11 Valvoline Chevrolet comes through the trioval, and now Mark Hanna decides that he's going to look to the inside here as Hanna in the 45 Napa Auto Parts Toyota Camry chases Gant down the backstretch. These two drivers, they've been battling all night long as Hanna is up 6 positions and Wes Gant just up 1. So he's basically been hanging around here all night long. Maybe not comfortable with the setup that this league is using tonight, but you know what, Tony? That is the closest battle on track at this moment.
It is, but there's battles heating up in the top 3 as Hawkins and Shirley starting to heat things up, as we are currently 3 to go here at Iowa. Rich Reimuller leads Bryce Senesac, GT Hawkins, Brandon Shirley, your top 4. And then you've got about 3/4 of a second back to Mike Rominger in the 29, who's got a 2 1/4 second gap back to Dennis Weeks. But these battles in the the top part of the field starting to heat up as Popsicle 6 in the air, Dave.
And with that, they are with 2 to go here. Reimuller holding 0.3 of a second over Senesac, so maybe we're going to see some fireworks here before the end of the night as Senesac is trying to chase him down. He gets a little bit better of an entry into turn 3 than does Reimuller. But as Reimuller rolls out of turn 4, the man in the stand puts the white flag in the air, and we are racing back to checkers.
Reimuller, Senesac in command of this one. They just have to keep off of each other and keep it off the wall. White flag in the air. Reimuller leads down the back straightaway, a little bit squirrely. He might be having fueling issues. Bryce Senesac right there within striking distance as they both float it through turn 3, coming out of turn 4 for the final time tonight. Rich Reimuller can see the checkered flag. Reimuller wins here at Iowa.
That's a great win for Rich Reimuller, and I know that we've talked to him before on the podium discussion. And you know what? At this point in the night, I'm pretty sure that he has earned the heck out of this, as he is definitely going to be improving from 29th in the point standings, where he sits right now. Does Reimuller in Spaceballs, the Chevrolet.
He does at that and clinches a berth into the playoffs now. Doesn't need to worry anymore about that as he becomes the 5th winner in playoff contention. As Senesac has 2, GT Hawkins has 2, David Elliott has 1, Jeremy Clifton has 1. Rominger just added his name to the list. And that means the all-important bonus points going into the playoffs.
And we see Reimuller here celebrating on the front stretch in Spaceballs, the Camaro. Great paint job. Of course, this is something that all of the two of us are always watching as he's celebrating here at the start-finish line. Holding off points leader Bryce Senesac, Reimuller now puts himself right there in the discussion as a contender as we move through the 2022 campaign.
And
so,
Dave, something to point out too, he is now only the 3rd driver this season to have more than 1 win.
No, he only has 1 win this season.
No, I'm seeing he has 2. This makes 2 tonight.
For Reimuller?
Yep.
Buddy, I'm looking at it here.
I'm staring right at it right now.
I see him in 29th, pal.
He is 29th because he's missed a few races.
Oh, I see what you did there.
But he has a win.
Okay, so this is his 2nd win of the season. Sorry, folks, I did have that confused. Now I have to go apologize to him with my hat in my hand. And
well, what do you say we both apologize to him for getting it wrong?
Sounds like a plan. Tony, I believe that you do have our race winner here in the broadcast booth.
Rich Reimuller, congratulations on winning here at Iowa. Talk us through just how fun that was with you, Senesac, Hawkins, and Shirley when the last green flag came out.
Oh, that was a ton of fun. GT was racing me hard. Raced me hard in the beginning and then raced me hard in the end. But it was a ton of fun. But I could get off the corner a little bit better, and I could get into the corner just a little bit better. And once he started getting tied off, I could finally get underneath him and just go. But we were duking it out forever, and I thought for sure if like on that last restart, if Senesac got in front of me, I was done. But GT passed me, and I figured out how to pass him back.
So you're saying clean air was king here tonight?
It wasn't particularly clean air. It was just more, you can control a lot more, like just physical, like spatial defense is it's difficult to pass, but it wasn't particularly clean air based.
Well, fair enough, but
I do have to interrupt here. I'm looking at this amazing paint scheme that we are all, at least here in the broadcast booth, entertained with every week. I see the name above your door, above the above the window net. This is something we don't usually see because you're not usually stopped like this, sir.
Oh my God!
You see it now?
First time I've caught that.
Well, I like the Perrier on the deck lid, but above the door, you win.
Good grief.
In my old
God.
in my old league, one of the old leagues that I ran, they made us use pictures, and so I used I used Lieutenant Major Philip J.
Gotcha.
as my picture for the longest time.
That's perfect. My friend, you know what? I know that we've talked before about maybe you updating the paint scheme, but this just gets better and better. It's like looking for Easter eggs in a Disney movie on this thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I got General Screw like out from underneath the front number, but now like the whole paint scheme is still like super wonky, and I have entirely too much space on the side, so I got to figure out something to stick there.
Yeah, we can see.
Might
General
I
Scrooge
suggest a
here.
Winnebago?
We can see General Scrooge here right to the left of the 92, right in the middle of your screen, folks. Of course, the great Mel Brooks there with that pencil-style mustache. He's really a good spaceball. You know that? I can't get enough of this thing.
Well, it's kind of fitting that I was watching History of the World Part 1, and next time, Jews in space. What is Spaceballs? There you go.
Very accurate.
But Rich, second win on the season. Got to be stoked for that one. Inching closer to being able to say that you are a playoff contender.
Well, technically, no, I can't, because I joined the league late, and the caveat of that was I wasn't allowed to be in the playoffs. So I'm just chasing trophies.
Well, ain't that just a kick in the knackers? As you become the third driver this season to win more than one race, you know, it's got to be a feather in your cap to take a look, you know, at the names that you're joining so far this season. You know, points leader Bryce Senesac, GT Hawkins sitting in second in points. You know, if you hadn't joined late, you're definitely putting this league on notice that next season you're going to be one to contend with.
I'm certainly going to try.
All right. Again, Richard, congratulations on the victory here tonight. Who do you need to thank before we turn you loose?
Just thank you guys for putting this on. League admins, obviously, for running the league. And Brandon Shirley for convincing me to come out here and make him run third to me.
There you go.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, sir. Well, listen, thank you very much for your time. Tony, that should bring up Brandon Shirley. I don't
No.
I do not see Mr. Senesac here in Discord just yet.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, that would mean that, Dave, I believe
wait,
you...
I'm going to steal him.
You're going to steal him, okay. Hey, look, there he is.
Bryce Senesac, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Yep.
Hey, man, listen, congratulations on that P2 finish tonight. I mean, you worked your tail off all night long, but just could not get up there to bring home the checkered flag. How was that car feeling on these long runs we had? I mean, with only a pair of cautions.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was the fastest guy on a long runs. I mean, I really didn't want to see that caution come out on, like, what was it, 50 to go or something like that. So, yeah, a little tough one to swallow there, but nonetheless, still a good run.
Well, that's very true, but I mean, you do still command the point standings for the season, and as we just found out from Mr. Reimuller, I mean, he's not even considered to be, you know, playoff eligible because he came into the league late this season. So, I mean, at that point, Bryce, you're still going to sit here and command most of the point standings as GT Hawkins finished fourth outside that podium.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of been the next thing that's kind of I've been going in these races. Like, if I don't really have a shot to win, I want to at least, you know, keep going with these top fives that I've been pulling off. So I think Talladega's next, so that's gonna be a bit challenging to do. And I think the only other race I haven't been in the top five was Bristol Dirt, because I'm not really a dirt guy. But you know, it's still nice to be clocking off these good finishes and showing good speed.
Yeah, you do have that correct. Talladega is next week there. Of course, going to be live at 8:40 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube.com, Sim Racing Media. And Bryce, before we cut you loose, is there anybody that you need to tip your helmet to for this run tonight?
I mean, good run from the whole team over at Primetime Motorsports. Thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Congrats to Richard on the win. Because I mean, I felt like I could have won that thing, but he was probably like the next guy. It was probably gonna be between us nonetheless. So good on him. I don't know if he won Bristol Dirt or not. So this is either his first or his second win. So, but either way, congrats to him. He did a good race, and yeah, he got by GT first, and that was pretty key to running off with the win.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations. That is his second win of the night, second win of the season, and you were correct that he did win on Bristol Dirt. So next week we'll go to Talladega, and we will see you there, sir.
Yep, we'll see ya.
That was your points leader, Mr. Bryce Senesac. And Tony, I believe that you do have our third place finisher with you now.
Absolutely. Brandon Shirley, all things considered, coming home with a podium at Iowa, can't be feeling too shabby right now.
No, I pretty much screwed up the last pit stop. Should have taken tires there. So to come away with the top 3, I am thrilled with that because thought I was done.
Well, you weren't done. You led quite a few laps here tonight. Talk us through what you really like about Iowa's. This track seemed to have fallen right into your wheelhouse.
Oh yeah, it's a fun track. The tire fall off is extreme. So you know you can play different strategies and honestly different lines. You can run too wide. You'll burn your tires up, but yeah, it's just a fun little track.
Well, it is at that, but changing gears, we go from one of the smallest tracks on the schedule to one of the biggest tracks on the schedule next week as we go into Talladega. What are your thoughts going into that plate race?
Hoping to survive. I'm not.
Usually half the battle at Talladega, isn't it?
Yes, very much. Yeah, I'm not a super speedway guy, so if I can survive the race, it'll be a win for me.
Fair enough, but again, Brandon, congratulations on the podium here tonight at Iowa. It's definitely going to help your point standings as we move inch closer and closer to the playoffs. Who do you need to thank before we turn you loose to go celebrate with your team?
Thank you guys for putting it on, and thank the admins for everything they do behind the scenes.
Brandon Shirley, we'll see you next week at Talladega.
Take care, boys.
Well, Tony, another one in the books here in the Ricmotech Extreme Scoring.info Cup Series. And I got to tell you, I'm almost out of breath as we had only had 2 cautions after 190 laps.
That was impressive. We went the first 135 without seeing anything. And, it was a single car oops coming off pit lane, get a little too aggressive on cold tires, and the back end just washed out. And that's something that we've seen time and time again with these next-gen cars. If you get them more than 15 degrees off center as far as sliding it, you've got no downforce being generated by that diffuser in the back of the car. And these things are so difficult to save in that situation. The feel is completely different from the Gen 6 car that these guys were used to.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with you there. Hashtag not wrong. Once that car gets just a little bit, up in the air, that's pretty much the end. And speaking of pretty much the end, let's take a look at those final results here that have been ticked off. You see what I did there? As we looked at Rich Reimuller sitting atop the pile, he gets to bring home his second checkered flag of the evening to add that next to his Bristol Dirt Trophy. Bryce Senesac, your points leader, finishing in second position. Brandon Shirley rounds out the podium in third place. GT Hawkins and Mike Rominger round out the top 5 with Dennis Weeks and Michael Thwaites in 6th and 7th. Alonzo King Jr., Mark Hanna, and Wes Gant in his number 11 Valvoline Chevrolet Camaro round out the top 10.
John Sterling and Alan Hilton rounding out your lead lap cars at 11th and 12th. Greg Carr, Jason Johnson, David Elliott rounding out your top 15. Dustin Carroll, Clifton Cockrell, Alex Carr, Jeremy Clifton, and Adam Capps rounding out your finishing order of the 20 that started tonight. But Dave, definitely an exciting race, all race long. I do apologize, folks, for talking so much about food, but as Dave has mentioned time and time again, we are both rather big-boned gentlemen.
We are, but you know what? If there's anybody that I'm going to sit and watch 190 laps of a race from flag to flag and sit here and, kibitz about food and everything else that we do here, I'd rather sit here with you than anybody else, my friend.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Tony, what do you say you just lay the tracks down and get us out of here before we go down another rabbit hole?
Absolutely. For Mr. Dave Regal on the ones and twos in the production truck, this is Tony Trapasso. Reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that until we meet again, whatever you do, don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody. Mm-hmm.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.